600K a month isn't a lot of money. I know that because one of my friends went from 600K a month to 1.1 million in 3 weeks. Now, the reason that this happened is what I'm going to talk about in this video. How I do this for myself, how I'm able to quantum leap, how I'm able to create this huge income progress in a very fast amount of time. And I'm also going to be explaining to you how some of my clients, friends are able to do these huge jumps as well. Now, the thing is, when you think that something like that is a lot of money, that is literally the problem. Because when you feel that that is a lot of money, what it creates is this pedestal. It puts that number on a pedestal far out of reach for you. Now, whenever you feel that something is out of reach, whenever you feel like it's big, it's difficult for you to do, of course you're not going to be doing it. Of course you're not going to be making that much money, right? Of course you're not going to be able to get to that level. So instead, and what I'm going to explain inside the entire video when you watch the whole thing is how I'm able to do this for myself. I'm a professional hypnotist. I work with some of the best entrepreneurs in the world, help them absolutely quantum leap in terms of income and the way that they feel. And I've realized a lot of different things that have been able to help me and help so many of these people, which I'm going to talk about here. Now, the main one is that the biggest problem that most of us have, I don't even care how much you make. Like, I don't care if you make 200, 300, 400K a month, like it doesn't matter. Probably if you're not making what your goal is, it's because you think too small. It's the number one problem. Now, when you think small, when you think 200, 300, 400K a month is a lot of money, like, of course that's all you're gonna make. Or maybe you're at a level where you feel like, you know, the income that you have every once in a while is hard to stay consistent with. It's because you haven't normalized it. You haven't created it as a part of your identity yet. Now, one of the things that has really, really helped me is this philosophy and this kind of, you know, just this moral code of, I don't know if it's a moral code. I don't know how you want to describe it. It's just this understanding that doing this work, the inner work, the stuff that creates these feelings, those emotions, the thoughts, everything that keeps you at that level that you're at, which is essentially your state and your identity, that needs to change. Spending 95% of your time on that work is going to create so much more results than you spending 95% of your time on your real work, for example, like your, you know, whatever type of business you have. There's so much like things like operational stuff that I do in my business, and people would be like, wow, this guy must work a lot. And they must think like, oh, you know, like he's got such a successful business, he must work super hard. But the truth of it is, I really don't work that hard, and I don't work that much either. The reason why is because most of my time is all going into my inner work. And then the time that I am actually working, which you could say it's nothing accurate, but let's say 5% of my time is on actual work, 95% is on this self-work and this inner work. When I do that, the 5% that I actually show up, the 5% where I actually do the work, like the operations side of the business, is so much more successful. It's so much more effective. And so many of us, the Alex Hormozis, all of these guys that preach all of these things that are really good at what they do, we look at these people, we wouldn't necessarily aspire to have their lives, but we still try and copy the exact way that they show up and work. Like if we don't aspire to be someone that, you know, works all the time and is however old he is, and, you know, like, no judgment. Alex Hormozi, I think, is a very, very smart guy. Like, I think he's great. But the point I'm making is, like, if we don't aspire to have these people's lives, why are we doing the exact same thing that they're doing in terms of the way that they show up? Because as you've seen, like, there's a lot of stuff come out recently, right, about a lot of these bigger guys, like, and how unhappy they are. You can push past these big things. You can work on your money blocks. You can work on all of that stuff. But it's like, what's the use of having like $1 million a month if you're not even happy? Like, you need to actually be okay with like where you are right now. You need to be okay with making 200K, 300K, whatever you're making per month. And once you're okay with that, you're actually genuinely grateful and genuinely happy. Not content. Like, you never want to be content with the level you're at. You always want to be growing. But the point I'm making is, like, you need to start to like feel, think in like a positive way. And like, if you're just constantly driven off all of that fear and all of that pain that got you to the point that you're at, which so many entrepreneurs do, whatever you start to create out of that is going to bear the exact same fruits. I'll say that again. Anything you create out of that place is going to bear the exact same fruits. So if you're showing up in that way consistently, where you're really trying to push, hustle, create something in a way where you don't even enjoy creating it in the present moment. Why do you think when you get this to that huge level that it's going to be more enjoyable then? It's not. Like, it doesn't make logical sense when you think about it. Sure, there's obviously the thought of like, I'm going to put all the hard work in now, and then when I get to $1 million a month, you know, it's going to be great because I have all this money and whatever. But it's like, you've spent literally almost all of your life creating from this place of fear, this place of lack, this place of not feeling good enough. And then you just randomly expect for like to be happy. Like, no, that's not how it's gonna work. And when you realize that like doing this work is not only gonna get you to that goal way, way faster, like it is. Like I haven't worked out the exact numbers, but I've jumped like a significant amount in terms of income in just the last 2 weeks, like than I had in such a long time. Like, I'm talking like, I'm trying to say a number, but I feel like whatever I say, it's just not gonna be the correct math. But like, I'm talking like, I probably like 5x'd my income, right? In like such a short time. So this was literally at the exact time of me spending so much more time on inner work. It's not a coincidence. When you do this inner work, when you work on your identity, when you understand that these feelings and emotions that got you to this point aren't going to get you any further, they might make you a bit more money, but definitely at such a slow rate, and also at a rate where once you get there, you're not going to be happy and you're not going to be content, and you're never going to feel like it's even like good. You know, like for me, like the numbers that I'm at right now, it's like, I'm still happy. Like, I'm not content. Like, there's always so much more money that I want to be making. Like, you know, but the point is I'm still grateful. Like, I still do genuinely love my life. Like, I wake up feeling very happy. Most days I feel incredibly happy. I know that I can get my business to like eventually $1 million a month. Like, that is something that I can take this to. And I hold all of that, you know, with that like really big and strong belief that if I do this work, I spend 95% of my time on the inner work and 5% on the actual work. Maybe those numbers can change a little bit, but the point I'm making is like, spend a significantly larger amount of time on the inner work than you do on the outer work, you know, the business operations side, because that's gonna, once you even spend just even like a tiny fraction of time doing something after you've done this inner work or as you're doing this inner work, it's so much more effective. Like, you see this all the time. It's like, why is it that some people that work 10, you know, 12 hours a day, whatever, you can even use the example for 9-to-5ers, but the same for like business owners. It's like, why is it that when some people work so hard, they're still only making like 10K a month with it? And then you see some people that are making, you know, like 10 times that, and they're not even doing like an hour a day, right? Or there's some people doing 100 times that and they're working a few hours a day. Like, why is it that happens? It's because they understand what it is they're doing. They're very effective with the time that they do spend working. And normally it's because they've overcome some of those things, right? Doesn't mean that everyone that is successful has done this inner work, no. But a lot of people that are successful also aren't that happy as well. So do you want to be successful and not happy? Or do you want to be successful and happy? I'm always going to choose successful and happy. Also, the contrary, another option to this is like, do you want to spend years and years slaving away to get to your goal? Or do you want to do the inner work now and then get to your goal so much faster? There's so many choices, right? And like there's a lot of people that maybe watch this video and want to have that change. They want to be able to, you know, be successful and happy. They want to do it in a fast time, and they can do it. Just spend more time on the inner work than you do on the outer work, and you'll get there a lot faster. So I hope that this video has helped. I'm Janardhan, professional hypnotist for entrepreneurs. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.